Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Alter Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. I, of course, am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific hunter himself, Zealeus.
What goes up on this quarantine Thursday, good sir?
It's another Thursday where we're broadcasting from home. Or from remote locations, I guess would probably be the best way of putting it.
Well, aren't we always remote in a way? It's just a matter of what is the distance between our remoteness.
Touché. Through the zeros and ones, we could be next to each other for all we know. However, we are not.
It could be an optical illusion. You just never know. I could be in the room behind you.
That would be creepy and really hard to do as the wall is basically right behind me. But besides,
you have a door down to your basement, though, don't you?
Huh?
You have a door going down into your basement.
Yes, I do. You're right.
I don't even know where Brett is anymore.
Anyways. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this is the Thursday Night Hangout. This is a show for you, by you, where you, the audience members, can add to the discussion or potentially add topics, subjects. And, of course, we love to hear your opinion on anything that we discuss on the show. Without going into too much more details, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that we want to talk about is the topic that Zealeus brought up, and that, of course, is crafting in games. Do you do it or do you not do it? Zealeus, take it away.
I just find, particularly in single-player games, crafting tends to be very underwhelming to the point of it's almost like, what's the point? Because pretty much most single-player games, I find, they have a mechanism where regardless you're going to get loot from bosses or chests or you can buy it or something. Mm-hmm. And I just find the crafting not very interesting. And not only that, but like a lot of, I find games, it's almost like randomly combine this stuff and see what happens. And I just don't care that much. And that's just kind of the feeling I get from most non-MMO crafting in games. It's just not appealing to me. I just don't find it a worthwhile investment of my time. Even if it's a game where I enjoy the storyline, what's going on, I just don't care about crafting enough. And also because usually crafting will require some kind of grinding. You know, go out and collect more of these goblin horns so you can make this cool new sword. Nah, I'm just gonna go over here and kill these Valkyries instead.
Actually, it's kind of ironic. I think it was like a couple weeks ago, I was having one of my random pop-up streams where I just ended up, I don't know what the hell happened. I started ranting about game mechanics. And crafting in a way was part of my rant. Right now there's this huge drive to have merge 3. And so in a way, you merge 3 things together to make something more powerful, be it, a piece of armor or a sword or a character or a tree or a treasure chest or whatever. And I was, breaking it down. I was like, look, here's the deal. Let's say you have a sword of awesomeness. That's a +1. So it has 5 attack. And then your Sword of Awesomeness +2 requires 3 Sword of Awesomeness +1s, and it will give you, let's see, if there's 5 for the first level, there would be 11 for the second level. So technically you put 15 points and got 11 out, and then it just gets worse the further up the damn chain you go.
Yep.
And the other thing is, and this is, of course, a huge issue with crafting in a lot of games, be it MMOs or single player, is that if you were to actually financially break down how much the time and then how much the ingredients cost to make some of this stuff, it's like if you just wait and go to one town over, you'll get it for a fraction of the price. But you don't know that, and so you get those 17 horseshoe snail backbones and the 5 gooey eyeball ribbons and 37 sticks to make one shaft of an axe, which always kind of bothered me. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. You talk for a second. I'm going to see if I can find the damn thing I was writing.
I was going to say, I also feel like a lot of games, it's almost like an afterthought. Where it's like, oh, well, I guess we should give players something else to do in the form of crafting because we need to tack more content onto the game. that we can advertise and have a little bullet point saying, and you can do extreme crafting in the game. But it always just feels like it's a just minor detail that's just not really that interesting in the grand scheme of things.
So here's one of the things from my rant. Hopefully, this is the level, the swords going up in awesomeness here. And if you were to, like 5, 5, 5 equals 9, and then this was like 9, 9, 9 equals 15.
Oh yeah.
And how, like, if you were just a dual wield, you'd be much better off. And then of course you want to go really batshit berserk crazy. This is this is me crafting in the axe. I was like, okay, so these 7 sticks right here make up the axe shaft, and then the 10 ingots of board. Oh, that's the other thing that really pisses me off. You have crafting, right? And you have to have like some specific ingredient, but it's an ingredient that you have to craft from something else.
Oh.
So you have like, you need, let's say, bronze. You need bronze metal bars or something. So you have to get your iron and you have to get your copper bars made first. Then you got to combine them. And the real kick in the pants in a lot of these crafting things is not only do you have to have the stuff, but then you end up having to pay gold to actually like finalize the project. You're just like, are you shitting me? Actually, that's my biggest problem with Moonlighter, where you're literally single-handedly bringing the fucking village back to life by buying these places for like the armory and all that stuff, and then they charge you a fucking arm and a leg plus crafting shit to get you so you can upgrade your stuff.
Yep, it's like, dude, I'm trying to save you people from like dying. Can you just give me this like nice little sword here? Will help me defeat the dragon that keeps on killing your kids. Instead, you're not gonna let me have the sword. You're all gonna die.
No, it's like
a good value proposition.
To build the armory, it's like 5,000 gold, and then for like the first upgrade to your weapon, it's like 2,000 gold plus like 5 rocks and 10 seaweed wraps or something like that. You're just like, seriously, what the shit? Like you're the reason you're in business. I mean, I'm the reason you're in business. And I don't get, you should be giving me shit for free. Anywho.
Yeah, it's just, and like some games, like usually MMOs more so than single player games, crafting makes sense because it's a time benefit analysis, right?
Right.
So MMO, you might craft something of materials you naturally find on your way, and you could use that, sword for like a couple hours. Whereas in a single player game, you have to go out of your way to find those 4 goblin horns, and you're going to use it for like a half hour.
Well,
and it takes you like an hour to find them.
Well, I think the other thing is with when you're playing an MMO, there's a chance that you can sell your crafts.
That's true.
In a single player game, there ain't no one to sell. I mean, you craft all your shit and then you could sell it back to the store for a fraction of probably was worth like half of one of the ingredients. It's like,
maybe it's just me, but I also don't like it when crafting doesn't have basically a guide, right? So like most MMOs, it tells you, bring us 2 copper ingots and a 10 ore, and you can make a sword of, a copper crafty sword. Well, you know what you're getting. Whereas in a lot of these other games, it's like, oh, just try throwing stuff together and see what happens. I'm good.
I can't remember what the game is, but there's something that's kind of like that. They give you like a recipe chart. However, you can, if you want to, you could switch out like 1 or 2 of the ingredients to see if you can make something better. And if you make something better, that recipe is now added to your list. That I'm okay with.
No, WildStar did that. So I don't know if you remember, WildStar was supposed to be like the World of Warcraft killer because it was like the original World of Warcraft, but better. And that didn't happen.
No.
But I like their crafting because kind of the same thing as that. It gave you a guidebook. Like, this recipe requires, 2 copper ingots and a piece of 10. Okay. That makes sense. But you could, we know this is going to make a copper sword, but you could throw in like potentially one of these 4 items and you might get something else better. To me, that's like, okay, that gives me a little bit of a guideline. That to me, I could do.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so when it's just like the description of the item is literally combined with another item to make something.
Yeah.
That's where I'm just like, I don't care.
No, yeah. I'm totally with you on that one. So, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who like to have. This is just another fun way of trying to get that, of extending the game because you're going to grind, and then of course, if you're a completionist, it's a new fun way of. I made 100 different items in the game, so I could finally say I've completed 100% of the game, which to me is the rinse and repeat shit in games, just because they want to make it longer than it really is, bugs the crap out of me at a certain point, and that's just another example of stuff that I'm just like, no.
And I would agree. Like, I've done the rinse and repeat, but it's in MMOs, and I've done it because of the social aspect. Yep. But when it's a single player game, I mean, I'll join the single player missions and doing that stuff and beating the boss. That's fun. But I think I agree with you when you're saying it's the rinse and repeat. When it just doesn't have the same entertainment value when I'm just doing it on my own over and over. It's when I'm doing that rinse and repeat like countless times. That's when I really need that social aspect to give a actual interest to it. Versus when it's just on my own, that's when it's kind of like, okay, what's the point now?
Well, the other thing is with a lot of these, a lot of like the free-to-play games that have a crafting element to it is there is a much heavier emphasis on certain items, or certain ingredients that make no sense whatsoever. It's like, in order to make this lockpick, you need to have 20 seashells, and then like 20 seashells and 5 rocks and like 3 piles of wax, and the next one is like 37 seashells and like 2 stacks of charcoal and 1 straw hat. It's like, why am I having to like collect all these fucking seashells? But like everything else, I'm fine. I've got like a surplus of everything except for this one thing. Sam Grizzle says, my door key is made of seashells and wax.
Well, then it's even worse on free-to-play games because now when you're crafting, usually in order to, in an MMO, in order to get that, copper sword of +2,
yep.
Okay, maybe you have to get a random agreement that you got through your natural in-game interaction.
Right.
But now when you're talking your free-to-play game, well, in order to get that copper sword of +2, you're probably going to have to purchase this $20 package that's going to come with the really cool diamonds, and that's the only way you can craft it.
No, well, okay. So here's the thing: they the only other way without doing in-app purchases, because this is how fucking tricky they are, is you have to log in every day for 7 days, and then you get that one ingredient. If you forget one day, you restart it 1. Or you could just pay $20 and you could just skip the line.
Yep. But now what they're doing too is they're saying like, to get around gambling,
right?
You're no longer buying loot chests. You're now buying diamonds that then you can choose what to spend those diamonds on. It just so happens that one of the things you can spend the diamonds on are loot chests. But of course, you can also get diamonds in game just through natural gameplay. So it's not really gambling because you don't actually have to do it.
True. And that's the case with the game that I've been playing a lot of called Gems of War, which is basically the, I guess, like multiplayer version. It's kind of like the multiplayer version of Puzzle Quest. You can, I mean, the super currency is diamonds, and you can gain them through play, but you usually gain like 1 or 2 at a time, whereas really do anything you need at least like 25 or like 100 or 250, something like that. So yeah, you got that going as well. You brought up the in-app purchases, and Zealeus actually posted this in our Discord channel, which of course, if you want to join the Discord, just hit us up and we'll give you the link, unless you're watching Twitch, and then you could do the ! Discord in the chat. It won't work in Facebook, unfortunately. But Zealeus Is Moobot on?
Yeah, it posted.
Okay, good. I can't see it. It doesn't show up on this stream. For some reason, it's ignoring the bots. So if you're on Twitch, you could see Moobot. I have to fix it. I'll fix that. But there's been an update to the what do you call it? The ESRB image, where they now include. Was it? What the hell? What does it say?
What was the exact verbiage? Yeah, they
I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? It now says in-game purchases, and then in parentheses includes random items.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can actually. Hold on. I'm gonna try to do this real quick here, ladies and gentlemen. So just give me. Look, to be honest with you, it looks like. I mean, not to be an absolute dick, but it looks like the includes random items looks like a placeholder. I'm just being honest. It for some reason it just screams to me. It looks sloppy. If you just hold on for 1 sec, I'll post it on the actual ESRB. I can't spell it that. I'll actually post it on the show. But yeah, it just, I'm not 100% sold on the look of it. I mean, I understand it's good that this is being added, but it truly looks like an afterthought. I mean, that's what it looks like. So.
I mean, honestly, I think it's like 5 years too late.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the damage has already been done.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I think most people realize in-game purchases means potentially random items.
Right.
So I think at this point, it kind of defeats the whole purpose. I personally think I should just say gambling, but that's just me.
True. Okay, here we go. So that's what it looks like. T for teen, language violence, ESRB, and then under in that little section below goes in-game purchases, and in parentheses includes random items. I'm sorry, but that looks like a placeholder. It's an absolute 100% afterthought. That's what it looks like, to me at least. I'm probably not alone. But anyways,
it's interesting. We'll say that much.
Agreed. All right, so moving on from that, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a couple topics that have been going that have come through during the day, and I do want to hit upon them. The first, and this is, I got in a conversation with someone today or a couple days ago about throwing matches. When you're playing not competitively, but you're playing against other players. Have you thrown a match, and why? And of course, I have to say yes. I have thrown matches. Most of the time, it's to children, so that they feel that they're awesome. But that's not to say I haven't thrown a match against someone of the same age, just because I want them to feel good. But is it really feeling good? It's kind of a lie. But Zealeus, have you ever thrown a match?
No. So really the closest place where I could throw a match, or I would be my robotics team. Mm-hmm. And actually the first thing that comes to mind is, so we have this, I'm going to see if I can explain this. So there's this system. So basically when you go to a robotics tournament, mm-hmm. there's these qualification matches. Where basically it's a round robin 2 versus 2. And what happened is when you get through all these qualification matches, it basically does a strength of schedule concept where basically it looks at the total score of the losing team and then adds that up. And that's basically to say, like, the higher that number is, the stronger your competition, the lower that number is, the weaker your competition. Mm-hmm. It's basically like a points against, right? That's the going theory.
Right.
And that's how basically you get to become like a captain who then picks your own teams. Well, it's almost like first in the draft, right? Like if you're the best, you actually get the first pick in the draft. Mm-hmm. What happened last year at Worlds, there was controversy that one of the teams it wasn't actually anywhere in the rules that you couldn't do this. They actually asked another team to throw their match so that basically that team who's asking them would then basically get moved up into the rankings so that they could become like the first overall pick.
Interesting.
And it became this huge controversy because they use this like weird numerical system where like there's drama because teams were being asked to throw matches so other teams could then like move up and down the rankings. And the organization actually had to make rules this year saying like that is not allowed.
That sounds very Bill Belichickian.
Yeah, it was because like it wasn't literally. I mean, to your point, it literally was not in the rule book last year. Like it was against the spirit of it, I would say, but it actually wasn't against the rules. So a big controversy, big hullabaloo over the summer, and the organization actually like explicitly said down the rule book, basically kind of the Bill Belichick type of thing, where it's like, and this is not allowed. It was never actually confirmed if it happened. It was just one of those things where it's like, did this happen?
Well, I mean, would they really admit to it though? I mean, that's the Bill Belichickian way. It's they'll do it until someone says, "Ooh, I don't know," and they'll be like, "Well, we didn't really do it. We thought about it, but you can't prove anything."
This is a lesson for the kids out there: is somebody actually took screenshots of a Discord chat. And that's how this all kind of came to light. So just for Pepper, like, you know, it's kind of like the Snapchat thing, right? It's like, oh, but it disappears, or it's a private Discord, or it's a private Snapchat.
Doesn't mean people can't take screenshots.
I mean, think about it. Even like, you know, if we go back to our realm of esports, you know, if you try maybe over like a PM to like Discord, like, I'm guessing this has actually happened, but at some point along the line, there's probably been like some esports situation where people have been asked to throw matches. Just statistically speaking, from the pros, I'm guessing somewhere in the line it's happened.
Well, I mean, you had
there's probably proof of it.
You had the StarCraft guy who was throwing his own matches because he was making more money off the bets than he would make if he won the entire tournament.
I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, that was actually a major issue in tennis.
Oh, yeah.
Where the guys weren't making enough money. And, you know, if you make $5,000 to be in a tournament, but somebody's getting paid you $20,000 to throw your match.
Yep.
And before the tournament purses really went up in tennis, and that was a common, I wouldn't say common, but that was definitely a thing in tennis.
Yeah, I would say it was not a foreign thing to happen.
Yeah. Nowadays, you know, tennis guys, they get paid enough money where it's not worth it. So for them, it's no longer quite the issue. But then you even look at like NBA, where you had the refs. What was it, Tim Donaghy?
Yep.
Where
it was something Donaghy.
Yeah, where he was shown to accept money on games.
Yep.
So
just finagling it just a little bit.
Yep. Even just one foul here or there. So, you know, I have no doubt that, you know, along the lines is particularly when you're solely in control.
Yeah.
Where it's like one person can make, like a football team, it would be really hard to throw a match.
The refs could do it though. What is a catch? What is pass interference? What is insert other piece of football here?
Well, you think about it, like, take NFL, for instance, man. Think about it. You're an NFL ref. You're not even considered full-time. A lot of these guys have other jobs. And wherever they're getting paid, you know, if somebody comes to you, you figure all that money in the NFL, somebody comes to you with a hefty paycheck to throw a match, or even like maybe just one pass interference call.
Or one missed pass interference call.
Yes.
2 years in a row, baby.
Were you behind it? I mean, obviously it's not okay, but I can understand the temptation.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't actually suggest any of those were actually thrown. It was just incompetence.
Continued incompetence.
Yes. It's definitely a continuation thing.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, but I bet even today, along the lines, and I could see in esports, you know, if you look at the payouts of what these teams and guys and gals get from, especially lower echelons, if you got people, you know, wagering a decent amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
See the temptation being right for the taking.
True. Speaking of esports, Riot Games is in their closed beta for their game Valorant, and of course, everyone's going, okay, Riot Games. We're talking League of Legends. It's going to be huge. Esport leagues here, there, everywhere. Riot has actually come out and said that for right now, they are going to let third parties organize and run esports events, and they're not going to actually kind of like, like police it. So it's going to be kind of a, there won't be like official league. It'll be, I'm sure it'll be some kind of like sponsor that will put on a league or whatever. Which is kind of, I mean, it's interesting, but at the same time, I to be honest with you, I think it's actually probably a smarter move. After watching what's happened with Overwatch, the first, was it 2? Now we're into third season, and it's already running into issues.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the COVID-19 hitting, and then that's a whole different issue. I mean, I can't blame them for just saying, you know what, if you want to throw, of course you'll have to pay them money in order to throw, to do tournaments. They're not going to let you do it for free, but at the same time, they're like, we're just going to do kind of this, COVID side effect. Everyone needs a haircut. Yes. Yeah. I need one really bad.
On Google Meet, usually he has like the nice short, like almost buzz cut, and he now has a little swoop going over. I'm like, yeah, I've been to your barber lately, sir.
I'm starting to get the wings in the back. That's how I know that I'm in.
Oh, that's the worst, yeah.
But the other thing is that I've been letting the facial hair grow out.
Ooh.
See, I'm not very good at the sides here, but it is there. And then, of course, this is starting to grow.
If you grow it long enough, you could become like a Scandinavian rock guitarist.
Zealeus could grow that in 2 days. 2 years, maybe. Not 2
You
days.
don't want me to go. It'll literally be like a Brillo pad I could do my dishes with.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a pretty sight.
But it'll be interesting to see how Valorant takes off. Now, speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, we did talk about this last week, and that was that Riot Games' approach to getting individuals into the closed beta for Valorant. The way that we're going to do it is you had to, of course, you had to create a Riot Game account. You had to attach your Twitch account to your Riot Game account. Then you had to watch Valorant streams on the whatever day it was, where they had drops enabled, and then you would basically be put into, I guess, a lottery or something. And then, of course, you could immediately be jumped into the game. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that I just got my invite today. I have not played it yet, but I'm like, oh, now I can get my ass kicked. Sweet.
There you go.
So I'll probably try to, I don't know, can I stream? I'm assuming I could stream it.
Is there a Valorant NDA? I don't know.
I don't think there is because I mean, other people have been streaming it that have been in closed. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Or I'll have someone go, you can't do that. My favorite thing is I was doing a closed beta for a game. It was an indie game, and I actually had the blessing of the developer.
Yep.
To do it, because he's like, dude, I need you to show it off. I was like, okay. So I start streaming, and these people come on, and they're like, oh, I'm telling the developer, you're in trouble. You're not allowed to stream this. I'm like, yes, I am. They're like, oh, no, you're not. I know that this is supposed to be under wraps. No one's supposed to see it. I'm like, cool. Actually, I think it was a high-res game, to be honest with you. I think it was Paladins or maybe Realm Royale.
I know people, bro.
I know people who know people who know people, and so I know them as well.
You got the connections.
But I'll give you a little bit more information about Valorant when I actually give it a shot. I'll probably suck at it. So you'll probably have to catch it real quick, because I'll probably jump back into... I mean, shit, all of a sudden I'm playing like all the Riot games, minus League of Legends and Team Tactics. I'm only playing... Legends of Runeterra. I finally lost to the CPU. I
Ooh.
did not get good cards. And that's really what it was.
No, there's definitely some luck involved, where if you don't get the right combination, it can just pile up on you, and it's like, well, crap.
I mean it. Yeah, I mean I got screwed over. Seriously, I could not. Like all my cards did not work, and the CPU is getting all these cards for like 1 or 2, and so they had like a full fucking rank army, and I had a defender. Actually, no, I had a card that can't defend, and so my ass was grass. Anyway, moving on to the next game or topic here. As many of you might have seen, Sony's showing a little bit of extra love to all the indie developers as well as gamers out there. Gamers that are on the PlayStation 4. So basically, Sony has made the Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection and Journey available for free on PlayStation 4. Now, Journey is a phenomenal game by itself. It's that video game company who's made just like phenomenal games. But at the same time, Uncharted is probably the only game my wife ever wanted to watch me play because it was like a movie.
Yeah.
And of course, there's still the attempt to make an Uncharted movie, though I don't know if it'll actually happen. But
so is this some semi-positive news about Sony from Charlie I'm hearing?
Yes, it is killing me to say this. No, personally, I'm still not going to get a PlayStation 4. But I'm happy to see that Sony's actually looking out for the gamers. And of course, PlayStation has revealed a $10 million fund to support indie developers during the COVID-19 crisis, which is sweet as well. It's basically it's keeping people indoors and keeping indie studios in business, which I'm totally, I'm all about the indie creators, so I can't be mad at that. I'm sure there's probably some little twist to this end. Well, it has to be a PlayStation exclusive, but you're in business, you get to make a game. I think they're going to be okay with that.
Well, of course, it's interesting too. Is the next generation consoles from both Sony and Microsoft.
Yep.
They're also very heavily leveraging backwards compatibility. And I know to a certain extent, you've had that on previous consoles, but they're really ramping up the previous generation gameplay for the new consoles. Really going and talking about backwards compatibility like I don't think we've seen before.
Except for the original PlayStation 3.
Well, yes.
The original PlayStation 3, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you out there who do not know, they actually had hardware emulation. They had a PlayStation 1 and 2 chip on the PlayStation 3 board, which meant that there was no software emulation. You literally could put in one of your games and play it on the PlayStation 3. And of course, they changed that. They decided to dump that and also the other OS feature for the PlayStation 3 to kind of drive down costs. And also, to be honest with you, there's always going to be those people who always want to play all of their games from their past consoles on that current console. But the vast majority of people, they just want to play the new shiny game. But I think we're at a point where creating like high quality games is really fucking expensive now. And so you're seeing a lot of publishers and developers kind of going, well, let's reopen our vault and maybe do some re-releases or maybe turn back on the support for these games for a minimum fee or something like that. And then of course with this $10 million thing, what Sony could be doing is they're stockpiling a bunch of games that you could immediately have in the PSN store upon launch. It's now you got a bunch of, they'll get to handpick a bunch of indie games that they helped make and probably have exclusive contracts on, or most of the time it's probably going to be timed exclusive now. But then again, you're an indie, so maybe it is going to be an exclusive.
Well, I think part of it too is you're also seeing, especially some of these later generation PS4 and Xbox
One.
Thank you. I'm like, what is the damn name of this Xbox?
Xbox One, 549, Niner, Fiver, Alpha Centauri, Xenon.
Ooh, I want a console called Alpha Centauri now.
I think Sid Meier would come after you.
What if he endorses it?
It's a Sid Meier console. It only plays Railroad, Civilization, Alpha Centauri, and Pirates.
Ooh, Pirates. There's a gem. There's a hidden gem.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're seeing some of these games which have enough replayability, honestly, and they still look like they could be next-gen games.
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of like, well, let's do it. It's like these games are still fully compatible with a new generation of consoles also.
Well,
I don't hurt here.
The thing is that, graphically speaking, we've basically, I'm not going to say we plateaued, but the vast majority of individuals out there are going to have, oh my gosh, I just blanked out. 1080p. No.
Yep.
Yeah, 1080p.
High def, yeah.
Yeah, high def. You can have high def. And, what individuals been able, or companies been able to do with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, yes, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, whatever the fuck is going to be called. There's going to be some, enhancements or whatever, but it's not going to be mind-blowing. It's not going to be like a jump from the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 3 type of, or hell, the NES to the Super Nintendo was, to do 8-bit to 8 to 16 or 16 to 32 was huge, or 32 to 64. Holy shit. Now it's like you go from, 790 to 1080. It looks a little bit prettier. 1080 to 4K. If you have the money for the TV, it probably looks really shiny, but
it's like now it's almost like you see more pretty shadows.
Yeah.
Or like you see further into the distance, or you're seeing like 50 FPS versus 30 FPS.
Yes, you're able, the fog of war is further back, and you can actually count the chin hairs on that NPC that's standing on the street corner that has nothing to do with the game, but because they've got the power, they're going to do it.
So I agree. I think, there will always be a next prettier game. I think that's just some developers are always going to push the graphical prowess.
Yep.
But at the same time, there comes a point where, well, granted, we've been saying this for 5 generations now, but there's a point where gameplay matters more than graphics.
Yes.
But I think there does come a point where graphics doesn't matter as much. And I agree with your point, though. Some of those previous generation jumps, that really made a big difference as far as what you saw on the screen and what you could do from a developer standpoint. Also, as far as gameplay, you could just do more complex things from a game.
Yep.
Are you going to be able to add any more complexity going from PS4 to a PS5 other than more pretty graphics?
I mean, we're to the point where, one of the biggest issues was not actually graphic. Well, it wasn't graphics. The biggest issue was trying to load all that stuff into memory, or also trying to contain it inside the cartridge. Now, of course, with the digital distribution and with, RAM to spare, it's not, that's not the roadblock anymore. I mean, one of the biggest issues that you had with those original like cartridges like Atari and Nintendo were the limitation was the amount of memory you could put on the cartridge. Now you're basically it's the system. It's a digital distribution. You don't have to buy a cartridge to then plug into your thing. And so, I mean, it's you can already make an awesome game. It's not like, was it Baldur's Gate was what, 5 or 6 discs?
Oh man.
Stan Grizzle says, seems like hardware held developers back for years. Now hardware is good and cheap. Come on, developers, take advantage. Yes, but the problem is that with developers, because the hardware is starting. Well, okay, couple things. You still have branding, which of course will immediately skyrocket your hardware up. Like, you put a PlayStation logo on the side. It's going to cost you an extra like $200. It's like putting an Apple logo on your fucking computer, jumps it up like $400. Then of course you run into, okay, let's not talk about the consoles. Let's talk about PCs, and developers have to be very wary of trying to set the bar too high or too low with, okay, this is our average, strength, RAM, processor speed, all that stuff. It gets a little bit harder. And so that's, but with like consoles and stuff, the developers now have the pressure of, we got to make it look super duper pretty. And then we need to make, something that's either sustainable or something we could push out every single year, because if we don't, we'll go out of business tomorrow. Sam Grizzle says, yeah, I get that average thing. Half the people have it, half don't. Yeah.
Well, that's where I'm actually, for my next upgrade, the question will be, do I upgrade my graphics card on my PC? Or I'm actually honestly tempted to getting a PS5 or Xbox Series X4 8.3 because I look at it, it used to be back in the day, you could really pump out your horsepower from your PC much more than the consoles for about the same price. And the noticeable was difference, right? I mean, I saw no reason to get a console when I could put into my PC what I could. Oh, yeah. But really this next generation, from what you can pump out, especially because it's so cross-platform now too, right? Everything, they're really optimizing almost more for the console first, and then they're porting it to the PC.
Right.
Obviously, there's exceptions like strategy games, but for the most part, especially like the action games and those games are doing that first. So when you look at kind of like what's really possible, almost like what incentive do I really have? I look at a graphics card for $200, look at a motherboard for $100, and a CPU for $150 to $200. You're talking $500.
That's $600 actually.
$600. I'm not even talking SSD or RAM or anything else.
Yep.
Versus
or
you go,
OS.
What's that? Sorry.
Or your operating system.
Yep. Or you go out and you buy. Let's even go with the high end. Right now, the estimated high end for the new consoles is $500, which we know will go down over time. Where you'll be set for a couple of years, like really for the generation of the console.
Right.
So really, I'm starting to get to that point from a cost benefit perspective. Does it make more sense to get a console? Now the thing is I would still miss my keyboard and mouse.
Yes.
Like I tried playing on the Switch, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. First-person shooters and controllers, it just doesn't feel right to me. I really tried, and I'm just like, this just does not feel right playing an FPS. Or like, I always have a place in my heart for like strategy games, like a Civilization and games like that, which is a keyboard and mouse game. So like there'll always be a place for a keyboard and mouse for me, but for like the more action games, I don't know. It might be that a console's in my future instead of upgrading my PC.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I just looked, just for shits and giggles, I went on Best Buy and pulled up the most expensive PC. And it currently, the price tag is $14,699.99.
Good gosh.
Yeah.
But can it play Crysis?
This one might actually be able to do it.
Speaking of, apparently they're remaking Crysis.
so that people can actually play it on their system?
Well, it's funny because, so is the new Crysis going to actually require less resources than the old Crysis so people can play it?
I don't know.
I don't
know. Actually I don't know why the hell they just texted me this, but there's a question that was just brought in, and that was Zealeus was just talking about how he didn't feel that an FPS on a console really is, it jives with him. Of course, you talked about strategy games. Is there any other genres for like either the PC or for the console that you think just doesn't fit as well?
Ooh, good question. So, real-time strategy games.
Yeah, oh God, yes. I could not. I don't even know how people could play it on console.
No, I've heard there was. I never played it. There was like I guess Halo RTS or something at one time.
Halo
Um,
Wars.
what?
Halo
Halo.
Wars.
I heard that was actually a good RTS for the Xbox, but the key is it was made for the console.
Yes.
So like with the key binds, et cetera, it was made with that in mind. Now, obviously, you take like a StarCraft 2 or Warcraft that's not made for the console, that's different. But in general, I'd say RTSs don't work. Um, but I mean, heck, you even see apparently Civilization 5 on the iPad's really good from what I've read. It's a good experience. So even though you think of games like a Civilization, which are classically keyboard and mouse games, but then it's being ported to, I would have never thought of the iOS, but apparently it works really well.
So I think for me personally, I think basically the same as you. RTSs for me, I need that mouse and keyboard. I have to be able to do the hotkeys. I've got to be able to have like different controls to like move around the map and select a bunch of units at once. Where it's very trying with a console. I'm super duper against like trying to do a real-time strategy with just a touch screen. It just does not feel right to me. I mean, like, controller's one thing, but when you take away even that and now you're just tapping on the screen, it would drive me nuts. Sam Grizzle says cross-platform Battlefield 1. PC would smoke those console controllers all day. And that's actually something that's constantly brought up with games like I'm just going to say, for example, like Smite or Paladins, where you have an Xbox One version as well as a PC version. Why don't you see people, facing off against each other via a cross-platform thing? And it really comes down to what you can and cannot. The thing is, for me, FPSs, I'm a little bit more comfortable with the controller because the controls are a little bit more simplified. If I was probably like a super duper gamer for FPSs, I probably want to have the keyboard and mouse combo because then I could really tweak some of the settings and stuff.
There was a first person shooter that came out recently. I can't remember what it is. But they accidentally enabled PC and Xbox or PS4. I forget.
No. It was they accidentally enabled cross console. Fuck, what was that?
It was PC and console. I thought is what it was. I thought
it was Xbox and PlayStation. After PlayStation goes, no, we're not doing that.
No, it was a remake of a game. So I can't remember what it is now. It's a game that had been on PC for a while. It's been it was one of the Star Wars games.
Star Wars Jedi Knight.
Yeah, no, it's the Switch. That's what it was. So it's been on the PC and it just came to the Switch, but they still had cross-platform enabled between the PC and the Switch, and it was not pretty.
PlayStation 4 and Switch. Here we go. In a rare move for a remaster of a game as old as this, the classic Jedi adventure includes the multiplayer component. Up to 16 players could take part in 6 multiplayer modes that include free-for-all, capture the flag, and siege. What presumably wasn't intended was for this to throw players of the original 2003 PC release into the mix as well.
That's what it was, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was not intentional.
That's interesting, though.
Well, it was twofold, though. It wasn't just that it was PC versus Switch. You had people who have been playing the game since 2003 on the PC.
I also wonder, though, like, was there any changes to... See, here's my... I mean, this was my issue with StarCraft 2 is that, they had like 3 different releases. And I was, fearful... I've always fearful of, like, games that come out or get remastered and then accidentally having that, connection. Is there going to be an advantage of getting like the later release, or is the advantage if you have the early release? There was what was it? Star Wars Galaxy? Was it Star Wars Galaxy? before they made the huge change, it was like one of the best games out there. Everyone loved it. And then they made some huge ass change, and then everyone was like, fuck this shit. And they started making their homebrew servers that were pre-patched so they could continue to play the game that they liked.
Oh, that was the MMO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that was Sony Interactive, and that was years ago from what I remember, right?
Yeah, something like that. But, it'd be, I'm all for, trying to have as many people as possible play the game. And I'm, actually one of the games that a lot of people keep asking about why there's no cross-platforming in is Warframe, the free-to-play kind of like Space Ninja esque game that's on the Xbox, the PlayStation, and the PC and the Switch. And of course, there's no cross-platform. The one thing that I really wish is that, okay, I understand no cross-platform play. However, I wish that you could tie your account.
Yes.
So that let's say that I've got I've got an Xbox One, but I played Warframe on the Switch. I wish I could take my character that spent a shit ton of time on the Switch and, be able to not, I guess, port it. That's kind of the wrong word, but have access to it on the Xbox version because it's still attached to the same fucking email.
Yeah. No, I could get behind that. That would be nice. Now some games are like Final Fantasy 14 of Realm Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
That is cross-platform between the PS4 and PC.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also a PvE game.
Right. Yeah, I think when you put the PvP element in there, I don't think that cross-platform is a good idea. I mean, when especially if you jump from console to PC, I think console to console, I'd be okay with that. I think potentially, but not console to PC.
Let's see here. So here are some cross-play games between different consoles. Fortnite. Let's see here. Minecraft, Rocket League, apparently Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
That's Chris Carter says Pandemic Charlie looks very close to Homeless Charlie. I'm getting my hair. If my hair gets a little bit longer, I'm trying desperately to grow out that beard. Now this part's getting okay. Although, actually, funny side note, real quick, my wife is starting to get really pissed that for some reason, I don't know, it's the genes, man. It's the genes. I have very dark brown hair, but my facial hair always comes out red. So I've got a really bad dye job going on. But I don't, but I do.
So are you going to see how long you can grow out the goatee? That's the real question.
Until my wife cuts it off in the middle of the night. Yep.
Nice.
We'll see how long that goes. Closet ginger. Yeah, that's probably right. My wife is a ginger, and so is my eldest son. So, which was really weird when my eldest son popped out and is a redhead. I'm like, huh. They got the genes from here, not from here. So I know that we're. I know we've got a couple more topics we want to bring up. I do want to mention real quick, because of this wonderful epidemic or pandemic or whatever you want to call it, there's been some interesting things happening in online communities. And apparently there's quite a few stories around the utilization of Animal Crossing and dating.
Oh.
People have been going on virtual dates in Animal Crossing, and basically, they've gone on tours of the person's island and house and stuff. But there's one story where this girl, apparently it was a Tinder date, interesting, and she said that it was obvious that the guy that she was on the date with was actually gaming the system because the time that there's supposed to be like a constant time in the game, but it was all jacked up. It was like a week ahead or something like that. Chris Carter says cluster fuckery is the new term for it. It's about right. I'm not surprised that Animal Crossing is now helping dating. I mean, shit, how many weddings have happened in like World of Warcraft and Evercrack and, you know.
So what you're saying is I need to play Animal Crossing to have a hope? Is that my problem? Is not enough Animal Crossing in my life?
Look, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Anyone who's in the crowd, if you could just, and I've been asking this question every single week. Animal Crossing, what is the appeal? Why would I want to play a game like I always had an issue with The Sims as well. It's like, I'm going to take time out of my life to play another person's life and work a job and do like chores and shit. I mean, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I played like every single one of The Sims, but it wasn't for that aspect. It was because I wanted to build a huge ass house and then fill it with a family and just let them live it the way they wanted to fucking live it. I didn't actually want to play it.
I think about like Dark Souls, you're basically playing the job of a giant demon hunter who's killing demons everywhere. So really, every video game is basically a job emulator. It's just what job are you taking in?
Chris Carter says 2 things I'm not doing during the pandemic: playing Animal Crossing and watching Tiger King. Chris, I'm 50%. I'm 50% with you there. I'm not playing Animal Crossing, but I've already watched Tiger King. So
I have not seen Tiger King and trying to stay away from it. I'm not going to be one of the mini sheeples.
I will just say that Carol Baskin killed her husband. There you go. I'm on record.
Spoiler alert.
Fucked up. I mean, that show. Woo. My sister kept going, you need to watch this. I need someone to talk to about this. You need to watch this. I need someone to talk to. And I was like, fuck it. Fine. I'll watch it.
Passing the buck. I see.
Yeah, of course. Now, would I recommend it to people? No. I watched it. It was crazy as fuck. But I'm not going to say, you have to watch it. Because I have my sister to discuss all the crazy ass theories that happen in there. And I did find it really interesting or humorous that I was driving down the road a couple weeks ago. And you know how people, different states have been putting like signs in their yard saying like everything's going to be okay, or, you know, yep, there's hope or all that stuff. Someone put in their lawn, honk if you think Carol Baskin killed her husband. And I had to honk the horn. You know, that was funny to me. I don't know.
I'll take your word for it.
You better. So I want to change things up a little bit real quick. I know that we talk a lot about things, and we might drop mentions about certain people or certain things out there. I'm going to throw up. I'm not going to. I'm sorry. No, I'm going to put a couple of quick images on there. Donity is crazy. Fuck yeah, it is. I want to throw a couple images up there. It's basically going to go over my face and Zealeus' faces, but I just want to do a shout out to a couple people. So first of all, friends of the show, I want to give a shout out to an amazing establishment that thankfully a lot of the gaming community has continued to show them support, and I want to show them support as well. They have featured our live broadcast in the past in their actual establishment, so I just want to give a quick shout out to Battle and Brew, which is, of course, the nerdy, awesome bar that's in Sandy Springs, Georgia. They have I can't remember, I think they're in a bunch of the different apps for like you could get your food and stuff. I know that they ran a couple different campaigns to like sell stuff to keep it open. I'm planning on actually placing in an order and maybe having lunch like in the next couple days from Battle and Brew. But shout out to Battle and Brew.
Curbside order, because I agree. Battle and Brew, we've had many a good time at Battle and Brew with good food, good booze, and good people.
Exactly. Another shout out we want to do is, and I know that we kind of hinted that we were going to try to get him on the show this week, but unfortunately he had prior commitments. And yes, they are doing curbside. But we do want to give a shout out to the man, the myth, the legend. And that, of course, is Craig Campbell, the creator behind NerdBurger Games. NerdBurger Games currently has Merged and Acquisitions, Capers, and all of its expansions, as well as Die Laughing. They're all phenomenal games. You should definitely check it out. Go to nerdburgergames.com. I think the Kickstarter for the last expansion for Capers is still going. I believe it's called like Outer Space or Outer Realms or something like that. But it's a lot of fucking fun. And hopefully we can get Craig on the show in the very, very near future so we can actually talk about some additional stuff.
And he's just a good person to have. He's a good guy and just knows a lot, and it's fun to talk to.
Shout out to fill-in sidekick Jesse, rarely seen. I would also do. I'd also like to do a fill-in side. Shout out to the fill-in side kick Dolphin fan Jason, who literally is just like a stone's throw away from here. But of course, quarantine, all that shit. He actually funds. He had to deliver something to my house, and for my wife. His wife had something delivered. He had to bring shit over that his wife had given him to for my wife. And so I met him in the driveway and he handed me a beer. He goes, dude, we need it. So shout out to Jason.
Nice.
Man. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to do one final shout out. And that, of course, is to the phenomenal, amazing Ryan Moore, the man, the myth, the legend behind Hero Chiropractic. He has been my chiropractor for, I think, 2 years now. Thanks to, I ran into, or Zealeus and I ran into him at MomoCon 2018, and he's been my chiropractor ever since. I highly recommend this guy. He's done amazing stuff for me. And of course, his practice is Will Come to You, which is also phenomenal. Now, of course, during this COVID-19, there's a couple of, like, restrictions and stuff because, he doesn't want to be hurting anybody. But an awesome guy. Definitely check out Hero Chiropractic. You just go to Facebook and just throw that in there. No, Sam's not that type of... it's not a masseuse. It's a chiropractor. It's not a masseuse spa. It's a chiropractor. Ha 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 ha. But anyways, like I said, I just want to give those three a quick shout out because they've given us love and support. If you actually go to the NerdBurger Games website and you go to the Friends page, we're actually listed there. So I just want to show love to at least those three, and I'll probably, the list will probably lengthen as time goes on. But they definitely deserve a little TLC. So I guess at this point, Zealeus, what have you been playing?
I have been playing on the Switch. It's still Dragon's Dogma, Dark Horizon. I always get the subtitle. But basically, it's actually original PS3 action RPG, and it was ported over to the Switch. And it's just a good, solid action RPG. You're going around and you choose one of many classes. You can be a warrior, an assassin, or sorcerer.
Dark Arisen.
Archer dude and other stuff. And you have what are called pawns, or your party. Mm-hmm. So you have your own personal pawn who you kind of create at the beginning of the game. And then throughout the game, you can basically recruit other pawns, depending on your level and who you want to make up your party composition. So you have up to 4 people in your party of your machinations. It's a good game. I've enjoyed it. The crafting seems dumb, so I'm kind of skipping that.
That's why you brought up the crafting thing.
Well, yeah, it made me think of it, but other RPGs I kind of feel the same way about, to be honest. It's not just that one, but I've definitely played other ones where it's just kind of like, it's not just it's also like the improvement system. Because a lot of them, it's like, get these random materials to improve your items also. It's like, can I just wait till I get a better weapon overall instead of improving this one?
Yeah, no. I don't know.
So that's mostly what I've been playing. What about you, good sir?
So, as I stated, for the PC right now, I'm playing Legends of Runeterra. And then I've also been playing a lot of the Switch. I've played Gems of War, which of course is kind of like the Puzzle Quest. I mean, it is Puzzle Quest, but it's the one where it's free to play with PvP in it. And then the other game I've actually played, I don't know even, I bought this a while ago, and then now I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I got this game. Let me at least try it. It's called Forgotten Anne. It's actually a really good game. I'm actually digging it. You're playing the character Anne, and you're in this I don't know, it's like a world or dimension where lost things go. Like if you like a lost sock will end up there, or a lost shoe, or basically something that was lost ends up at this place. And Anne is a human who's trying to help finish something that will allow those lost things to go back to reality or something like that. That's the premise. I'm not going to tell you, the actual story, but it's an action platformer. It's got a lot of puzzle mechanics in there, but I have to say I'm digging it. I really have enjoyed it, and I feel like there's another game I'm supposed to be playing, but I can't remember. Oh, as I stated, I'm gonna try my hand at Valorant since I just got the closed beta invite.
Nice.
So
I'll be interested to hear how it is.
Yes, or how bad I am at it is probably more what you're going to find out.
I'm sure you'll do fine.
I'll be mediocre. I mean, not bad, but not good. Kind of mediocre.
I mean, you'll do your thing. It sounds like the good thing, at least from what I've read so far, because it's the closed beta.
Yep.
Is that the community is good and they'll be willing to, help people out to kind of figure out, what's going on in this game, which I think is good.
One can only hope that they're going to be as forgiving and nice to me as they are to others. Oh, I'm scared.
Somehow, I think you'll be fine, sir.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I don't know if I actually said this or not. As many of you may have noticed in over time, I do collect Funko Pops. Just a couple here and there.
Really? What are Funko Pops?
Huh?
Nothing.
But I don't remember if I actually showed this off or not, but I did get 2 new Funko Pops, courtesy of the Marvel Collector Core, and I just want to show you real quick the awesomeness because they both glow in the dark. I'm not going to show you how they glow in the dark, but they do both glow in the dark. Of course, the first one is the Star-Lord.
Not Charlie.
Guardian. Oh my God. Guardians of the Galaxy, not the Galaxy of Guardians. Good job, Charlie. And also Black Panther.
Ooh. He's a good Guardian, too.
Yeah, he is. So, oh God, I got in a conversation with someone about Funko Pops the other day, and they're like, man, I'm really starting to collect those Funko Pops. I've got 50 already. I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
They're like, so how many do you have? I'm like, more than 50? Like closer to 270-ish, I think. Something close to that. I mean, if you count that shelf behind me and the shelf over there and the shelf over there, or shelves, I should say. Let's see. 1 shelf, 2 shelf, 3 shelf, 4 shelf, 5 shelf, 6 shelf, 8 shelf. No, wait. 7 shelf, 8 shelf, 9 shelf. I'm just bouncing around numbers. I don't even know. Yeah,
you sound like you're reading a children's book right now.
Yeah. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. No. I could do the entire book without it being here because I've said it so many times. But I'm not going to do that.
Take your word for it, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to just kind of wrap it up a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, I do want you to know that every single Thursday, AlteredConfusion does do the show on twitch.tv/AlteredConfusion as well as on Facebook. We were doing it live on YouTube, but I had to drop the YouTube thing because the client we were using was starting to jack up the chat. So we're now just Facebook and Twitch for now. Of course, all of our shows are going to be posted on YouTube, and all of our shows are also available in audio format through your podcast provider. You could either go to Podbean or you could go to iTunes podcast store or whatever the hell it's called. And I want to say it's also in the equivalent for Android, but I can't remember if it is or not. I don't think it. I can't remember. I can't remember. I really can't remember. That's something I need to look up. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns or topics or whatever, you just drop it to us through any of our social media means. And of course, you can always add to the conversation during our live shows, either on Facebook or on Twitch, and we'll try to bring up your opinion or your topics and suggestions as soon as we see them. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have unfortunately reached the end of our show, but I do want to take a moment and thank everyone for tuning into the Altered Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving you everything coming out of our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another Altered Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. So until then,
remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.